enjoy the talk from Tomáš, who will tell us the essentials. It's kind of our talk for the end, the essentials for the startup building. So the stage is yours.
Cool. Hello, Thomas. Let's get into it. It's very short and quick introduction. I'm Tomáš. I'm a CTO of Vortex. We are a Google partner, but in my free time, I love to work with startups. We have the tech executive community where we have startup and enterprise CTOs to share what really matters for them and the problems every day. And with Matuš, we have also a podcast, Tech Navigator, where we are also inviting the interesting guests to share what matters. Then you can find more into this. And now I would like about you. Who of you work in a startup? Okay. Who of you are like co-founders or founders? Very nice. And who plans to build a startup? The rest of you, why are you here? Amazing. Maybe it's just interesting for you. And for the ones who are working in a startups or are planning to do it, do you plan to have investors or do you have investors? Okay, let's move forward. Why I asked about investors. Your technical strategy is different for the way how you will build the startup, how you will build the company. This is a slide I got from Michal Taborski. He's partnered at Reflex Capital, and he have it very nicely. There is multiple ways where to get money, and each of the ways have different priorities. You can see venture capital wants revenue, grow, exit strategy. Private equity have different strategy and why they invest money into you. And there is the third one, which is not listed here. It's you can bootstrap your startup. You don't need any of those people. You can do it by yourself. And the technical strategy will be some combination of those two. The role of a CTO, that's the guy basically or girl who is developing the strategy, right? What they do in the beginning is all of it, everything. They need to do everything. But this is like pre-seed, seed phase. When Series A and forward, I do hope you are familiar with the investment rounds, I assume, your roles will change. You will do much less of these. You will still do finance, you will still do business development, you will still help sales to grow the company. But you will much more focus on hiring and the actual strategy, what the company will do in the future. Then let's go into the sexy tech stack. What is a sexy tech stack? It does not exist. Use boring technology. And if you are expert on something, use what you know. Don't take your startups as an experiment. Don't play with technology you read on a Twitter, it's amazing for startups. Because you will burn quickly, you will run into a lot of problems, and you will not make any money because you will be focusing on fixing the problems on technologies you don't know. And why I'm saying also boring technology, it's also connected to hiring. You will hire people to boring technology, Java, Python, stuff like that. Everybody knows it. There is a lot of people. But if you will use something unique, what you like, you will have problem to find someone who will help you to develop the startup further. And okay, most importantly, it's part of a stack. It's a team. The people you have in the company matters the most. And if I would do my own company, this would be the stack I'd use. For front end, something classic like React or Vue.js, backend Python Node. If I can find someone who can be a full stack, write everything in JavaScript, amazing. I don't need two people. I can have just one developer. For databases, go for Postgres. It can do whatever you need in the first phases. You throw a little bit of money on it, it scales. It just works and everybody knows it. Yes, it has its own problems, but it just works. And for mobile, if you do not have a startup which is requiring some specific features of iOS or Android, go for something what is multi-platform, whether it's Flutter or PVAs. For infrastructure, spend a bit of time there and develop the basic CI/CD, go for containers. Ideally, go to the cloud, because it will help you a lot, because at some point you will have a customer, I hope, and you will not need to focus on your VM or on your bare metal. And you will just throw a little bit of money on it, make the instance bigger, and serve the customers and make money, focus on the business. And for monitoring, don't deploy your own solutions, Grafana's. Use some native monitoring, ideally from the cloud where you are running. But what else matters? Not just the technology, right? If you are the CTO and you want to develop the strategy, software development lifecycle it's very important. As I said, spend a bit of time on the CI/CD and how you develop, how you release the features quickly. The architecture and the stack, we talked about the stack, the architecture, don't overcomplicate it again. Like, use stupid REST APIs, maybe a little bit, I forgot the name, whatever, event-driven architecture, but don't deploy huge Kafkas because you worked with Kafka in your enterprise job before and it's amazing. Don't do this in a startup in first years. It will have its place further down. Secure your business a bit, focus on business continuity even in the early phases, have an idea what you will do if something happens. And that your server goes down and your application goes down, it's not that big of an issue at some point. Because if it's down, the customers will tell you, hey, you are down. It's good because you know someone uses your app and cares. Then don't overcomplicate it. Don't do all the HA and cloud and everything 10 times, replicate it. IP management, own your code, own your properties, own the stuff you are developing and you are creating. Third-party licenses, take care of it and look at it. For example, CockroachDB recently changed the licensing model. And now, if you're making money and using this open source, you should pay them something. It's not much, but you should know about it and you should not violate these rules. And this is like something what is in recent year changing a lot in the open source. Then pay attention to it. Processes, you need to have some, at least. And cost, of course. If your architecture is costing you a lot of money, something's wrong. But what really matters? You see it on the slide, right? Do you have customers and are they paying? You can have whatever technology, whatever stack, but it will not work if no one is willing to pay for it. Then really focus on the business, work with the CEO, and develop something what matters for the customers, not just because you like the technology and you want to develop something cool. That's it. I said it will be fast. If you want to dig deep into each of these topics, I can recommend this book, The Engineering Executive Primer. It's amazing. It discusses every aspect I mentioned here to focus on very deeply, and it goes into what, when, and how. Then I cannot recommend it enough. And as you can see, many startups fail. Don't be afraid to close the startup and go for a next idea. That's it. Thank you very much. It was lightning talk. Then we can go to the closing in 2 minutes.
Yes, we can. Thank you. But before that, any questions you want to ask to Tomáš? We have just really small amount of time, but if you have any.
Or if you are afraid to ask, connect with me on LinkedIn and we can go for a coffee or something. Matusz, you're not alone.
How long it took to your startup to go from zero to first paying customer?
Not in the way of a startup, right? We are kind of an agency. We are in consultancy, but it took us like a month. And you don't need first paying customer. You can go. The best validation of your startup is to go to your friends and tell them, I'm developing this super crazy idea. Install it in your company and test it and give me feedback. And then if you have friends in big companies like, I don't know, Kiwi, Rohlik, these like big ones, and they will start actually using it, give it to them for free and get the logo to your website. It will boost your marketing a lot because you will be able to say, even 2 people in the company are using it, but you can marketingly claim that, hey, Kiwi is using my tool.
Sure. Okay, so thank you, Tomáš. It was an excellent talk.